Welcome back to the show. Joining me this week on the protocol from Tim in the North Gaming, Mr. Tim.
Howdy.
And former host of the Dace Man show, also co-host of Potter Nerds, as well as a series Mosh Pit Confessionals coming up soon, Trish.
Hi.
And today's protocol, like we said at the monologue, we'll be talking Halloween. Let's get right into it. And the first thing I want to know is, when can you start decorating? What is the protocol for when you can start decorating? We'll start with you, Trish.
I'm really bad about that. The minute I feel like I need it, it's so August. I'll start decorating at the end of August because I want Halloween as soon as humanly possible.
That's fair. Tim, when would you start decorating for Halloween?
Right after Labor Day.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're going into fall, you could hang up foliage and stuff like that, and then just add the pumpkins and spooky stuff.
Nice. So in contrast, when you're talking about when you start decorating, so when Mariah Carey starts thralling out in October, would that not still be the same
Nope.
case? That's still 2 months.
No, because you get November and December for Christmas.
Yeah.
Halloween deserves at least September and October and possibly part of November.
It's part of November.
Part of November?
Yeah.
Up to Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Halloween can have more, in my opinion, because Christmas is never ending, it feels like.
Well, what level do you start decorating at, too? Are you talking full-blown, just window decorations, or are we going full-blown, I'm setting up a haunted house Labor Day weekend?
If I had my own house, it would be a slow increase in what I'm doing, just starting and then going from there. I only have my bedroom, so it's just that small amount.
What about you?
Inside first, and then maybe mid-September throw the outside stuff out, I think.
Okay, well, immediate follow-up for that. When do you take it down?
Middle of November.
Middle of November?
Not till after, probably around Thanksgiving, honestly.
Okay. Tim, when would you take it down?
Say Thanksgiving, and then start to transition towards Christmas.
Mhm.
Also, with December, it gets too cold to hang out Christmas stuff, so get the Christmas stuff up sooner.
I think Christmas is also way too stressful for me, so I try to avoid it at all costs and live through the Halloween feel as long as possible.
So we're going to set a protocol here this week on the protocol. Are we in consensus that it'll be Labor Day weekend is when you can start decorating for Halloween?
I think so.
Fair to say? All right. Moving on to the next protocol we got here. We're going to be talking about the homemade treats versus the full-size candy bars. So the candy we hand out at Halloween to kids. What is your take as the giver? We'll start with. So we'll start with you on this one, Tim.
Treats versus candy bars? I feel like if you're a parent, that sounds like
A nightmare?
pure anxiety. My kid's gonna die.
Yep.
Obviously, the super large candy bars are nice. I think you gotta go for the candy bars for safety.
There you go. How about you, Trish?
I think the only way the homemade ones are okay is I seen when I take my niece and nephew trick or treating, people do goodie bags. They'll do little things to make it easier. Here's your goodie bag, and it's got candy. Sometimes it's got little small cheap shit they've got from Target or the dollar store. But homemade food, it'll get tossed. Nobody will do it. They don't trust anybody anymore, which is fair because we all suck.
How do you feel about syringes in those goodie bags?
I'm more of a razor guy.
Razor gun? Yes, right in the apple.
Yeah.
I feel like that's crafted.
Candy apple is already red. You can't
No,
tell until
I think it's more of we're gonna give them the expensive edibles that we have in place of regular candy. That was the big one too.
I'm just doing my part for the dentist association to give them more work. So when a kid bites into that candy apple and they get a blade, there's gonna be some dental work.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
All right.
They're poor gums.
So it sounds like when it comes to the protocol number 2 for Halloween, we are leaning towards the nice candy-sized bars, handing them out as the givers. Now, as the receivers, when it comes to candy, this is getting the Wayback Machine because I was born in 1925. So when we get back to the Wayback Machine, when you were going out to get the candy, what were you looking for?
Candy bars. I don't want anything else. I literally was at Target the other day and I saw veggie straws in the candy aisle to give out to people. If you give my kid a bag of veggie straws on Halloween, I'm egging your house next year. Don't you dare. The whole point of Halloween is to go out and get candy. I'm so sick of adults trying to make it more healthy. No,
So
Halloween.
you're against the toothbrush giving people?
I would fight you. Your house would get egged and toilet papered at that point. It is trick or treat. Fine, if you don't want to give my kids candy, fuck with them. I'll laugh. But don't you dare give my kids, any kids I have, something healthier. Chips are fine. They're not that healthy. A drink. I've seen Capri Suns, but if you give my kids a Cliff Bar or fucking veggie straws or something like that, I'm egging your house.
There is a
I'll help
location in this area that's currently having an open house that is giving out baby carrots. for Halloween. So if you can find them, they're all for Route 41. They're happening behind a gas station. Just egg those type of houses, and you're fine. You're fine. Brick through the window is great. So what is your thought when it comes to giving, or when you were receiving the candy? What were you looking for?
I went for like less chocolate stuff because like that's what everybody is easy to get that. I like was always grabbing like bottle caps.
Ah, yes.
God, I forgot about those.
Those and the pixie sticks,
Mhm.
which got
Pure sugar.
Yeah, pure sugar. Yeah.
Pull and peel Twizzlers, because they are not appreciated the way they should be.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Even though like I have children that don't eat them properly, they just chomp into
Oh,
them.
your kids are
What?
serial killers.
They
so.
are. I like to savor pulling it apart, like pulling
Right.
skin off
Yeah.
somebody's flesh. So that might be more serial killer. So the protocol says to give pure sugar. That's what you want to receive,
Yeah.
and to give, we're going to give out pure sugar so that other parents have to deal with that shit.
It's trick or treat for a reason.
Now, speaking of trick or treat, there's a new wave that has happened, we'll say, in the last 10, 15 years, and it's kind of where I would like to say that parents are getting lazy. It's the trunk or treat versus door-to-door trick or treating. Now, somebody will sit there and say, "Oh, I don't want to knock on the door," and then it's like a serial rapist or whatever the hell it might be at the door or whatever we're thinking. But do you think trunk or treat is better than door-to-door trick or treating? We'll start with you on this one.
I've had this discussion last year. I don't have kids, but I take my niece and nephew trick or treating, and every year there has been less and less kids trick or treating because they've been doing more trunk or treats, and I think it ruins Halloween. The whole point of Halloween is to go out and do that, and like as someone who used to give out candy, it really is a lot less. I think apparently the trunk or treats are supposed to be for like safety, which is fine, but at the end of the day, that's also on the parents. If you can't take your kids out trick or treating and keep them safe, or are situationally aware enough of what's going on to not take them somewhere bad, that's on you. I think the trunk or treats are pure laziness at this point. Like there's like 10 trunk or treats leading up to Halloween. Fine, even if you want to do the trunk or treat, do it on Halloween. Like let the kids still have the fucking holiday.
That's fair. Tim, what's your thought? Trunk or treat versus door-to-door?
I'm not a fan of trunk or treating yet. I feel like it takes away from the spirit of what
Yeah.
Halloween is. Like part of like giving out candy is being able to see like other people's creativity, which I feel like has declined also over the years.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's just you're also ruining the whole point of like decorating and like creating an environment like if someone wants to like come to your house. And so I feel like Halloween's getting squashed over the years with trunk or treating.
Mhm.
And like to the point, like it's laziness. I feel like parents are just willing to give their kids a bag of candy and just like.
Oh, yeah.
I also think that's a generational thing because it's so funny because when I brought that up last year, I know tons of people our age who were like, I'm not taking my kid to trick or treats. I want trick or treating back. And I agree with you. The decoration thing, I used to love going to houses that went all out. There were houses in the area that we live in. They used to make walkthroughs through their backyard, and you could go through the whole thing. And
And they
like,
gave better stuff too.
Right.
They put in the work.
Oh, yeah. This was fun for them, right?
Yeah.
this wasn't just fun. Like this was something they enjoyed doing too. And I think it's very much a generational thing. I think the generation before us is the one that did all the trunk or treats and like claimed it was like great, but then realized how much they didn't have to do in the end. And I think a lot of people our generation are like, no, we want trick or treating back because we enjoyed seeing it as much as we enjoyed doing it.
And as a kid, I mapped out my neighborhood. There was a house that I always knew gave away drinks,
Mm-hmm.
and then there was other houses that gave away like bags of like potato chips and stuff. So
Right.
Like a midway snack.
There was a house, and I used to go in one of the expensive neighborhoods by me, and this lady, you would go in the house, which was like she would make sure the parents were there if they were too, and you would walk in, it looked like a candy store, and she would sit there with you for a few minutes, and she would like talk to you, and she would give you like you'd leave with like 6 full-size candy bars from this woman, and she did this for everybody. Like Halloween was her favorite thing because she could give out, like she loved it too. So like I feel like we need to stop being lazy about it and just let the kids have fun.
So as a parent, what I like to do is take them to Walmart the next day on Dios de Muertos, and we pick out the discount candy
Yeah,
that's
that's
being
fair.
given away. And normally I give them candy corn to teach them that they were little shits all year. So
Hey,
I like candy corn. They
Okay.
don't. They think it's just wax. They want the
Okay.
candy bars. So I think the protocol here is get your asses out, walk the streets, door to door, do the work, and that's what you do as children.
Yes.
To me, it's my favorite time of the year to get my Pokey Steps in. So that's another thing that I could do. The last panel talking point for this protocol is the trick-or-treating and the parent tax when you're doing the sorting. So I know you guys aren't parents, but you have parents, so there's a good chance that they did this to you when you were younger. I know mine did. What I like to do is put all the Whoppers aside so they think that's what they're getting because they're disgusting. And clearly, if you weren't doing the legwork, you get stuck with the Whoppers at the bottom of the bowl. But how do you feel about the sorting / pre-tax? We'll start with you on this one, Tim.
I feel like there is a swing tax, just as if we're gonna pay up for safety. So and plus, if you give it up front, it's less tapping into throughout like the course in which you're consuming the candy. So you got to pay up front.
Yeah, it's a nice lesson.
I
in
feel like there should be a negotiation because given Whoppers and the dots, like that's cool.
That is exactly what I put in a pile. I'm like, if you guys don't calm down, this is your pile. Your thoughts?
I don't. It's just my niece and nephew right now, and I just steal their candy when they're not looking while we're out trick or treating, because my sister's stingy with it. Those kids come home with 2 like big bags, and every year she throws out candy, and she never lets us take any with her, which is slightly annoying. So me and my sisters have just resorted to stealing candy when none of them are looking. Like last year, I whipped out a bag of Skittles, and my sister goes, "Where'd you get that?" I said, "Oh, I took it from Peyton's bag." She goes, "Oh," and then pulls out a Twix she stole from her too. So like, I think share. Like, there's plenty. Nobody's gonna need that much candy. I think just share it, enjoy. Like, let everybody have it. We walked with you. Give us some freaking candy.
And I think it's a good lesson in capitalism, because the harder they work, the more I take. I get 33% of their candy.
Half the time we're working harder than the kids, because the kids are just aren't even going up to the doors. They're on their own little world.
Ready to quit the first hour.
Literally.
They don't like the bag anymore.
Right.
Yes. And we don't give government handouts where you're going to end up getting a bag of candy the next day. That goes in.
They got to go pee, so one of us has to take them all the way back to the house and then come back. Like, we deserve. Listen, we're older. It's harder on us to do all this walking. We deserve it just as much.
I thoroughly
And we're
agree.
not allowed to trick or treat as adults, but we still want the candy.
See, that's one thing I miss, and we'll get into the final thoughts on this protocol, is that when I was a kid, I watched the parents drunk or treat.
Oh, yeah.
Where they would walk around with their mini airplane bottles and their cups and their mixed drinks in their neighborhood. And we don't get to do that at trunk or treating because it's on school property. And they don't like it when you drink on school property.
My brother-in-law.
Am I right, Gibby?
My brother-in-law was hammered last Halloween. He was walking around with a cooler bag full of surf signs.
Exactly. Like, that was the highlight of what you thought you would get when you were a parent.
Uh-huh.
But then I went and got gastral sleeve surgery, and now I can't actually drink, so it's fun. So what we're going to do is, we've got our 4 protocols in the book. We want to do one final thoughts on the Halloween holiday. Trish, what is your final thoughts, protocols people need to know to adhere to when it's the Halloween season?
I think have fun with it. That's what it's all about. Enjoying yourself. I think the one thing is dress up. Enjoy yourself. I love dressing up, even as an adult. I don't care. That's the whole point of the holiday. It's just to have fun and be silly and do what you want. So do that. Stop thinking that, like, you can't do this or you can't do that. Just enjoy yourself. We don't get to enjoy ourselves a lot as human beings, and this is one of the times we should be able to.
Nice. Tim, what are your final thoughts on the Halloween season and the protocols that we must follow?
Halloween matters. Decorate early. Knock on many doors and ban trunk or treating.
Oh, awesome. Well, that's been this week's protocol. Let's go around the horn, see what everybody's doing. Tim, we'll start with you.
Age of Empires and cooking recipes coming soon to the Bytes channel.
Nice. Trish, what you got going on?
Not too much. I want to hopefully, like we said, I'm trying to get that. Hopefully we'll get the Mosh Pit Confessionals up and running soon.
Perfect. Well, that's been this week's weekly protocol. I've been Chris, the Dace Man. Dace. He's been Tim.
In the north.
She's been Trish. It's been Trish. Anyway, that's been it. I don't have an outro because I never have outros when I do videos, but check out everything on basementprotocolproductions.com and facebook.com/basementprotocolproductions. And we will see you next week for the weekly protocol.